All league awards here, this is voted on by the coaches, the sports information directors from the schools, and you people in the media. So here's how it came out, and let's get with it with the All Summer League first team. 6 members on the first team, starting with the women, and led by Peyton Burkhardt, a sophomore from South Dakota State, led the Jacks with 16 points a game this year in Summer League play. Kira Duffy, senior from the University of South Dakota, 3rd year in a row that Kira Duffy has been on the All Summer League first team, 3rd in the league in scoring this year, led the league in assists per game, and the Coyotes, of course, regular season champions. Olivia Kaufman, senior from Western Illinois, led the Leathernecks in scoring, played the most minutes in the league this year, highly trusted by Coach Gravina. And those 3 lead off the All Summer League first team, and they are joined by junior from Oral Roberts, Kenny Jo Lippy, 2nd in the league in scoring this year, and 3rd in rebounds per game, as a matter of fact. Had that 46-point game in February, set a new Summer League record for the most points in one game. That was the most by a Division I player this season. Madison Nelson, senior from Denver, double-double machine, 19 points and 11.5 rebounds overall, 2nd in the league in blocks, had 10 league games with 20-plus points this year for Madison Nelson. And joined by Hannah Shervin, junior from the University of South Dakota. She was, of course, the 6th woman and the newcomer in the league last year, led the league this year in field goal percentage, 5th in rebound, 3rd in blocks, and a defensive force in the middle. And that is your women's All Summer League first team. All right, men. Tyler Hagedorn leads it off, senior from South Dakota, top 10 in the league in scoring, rebounds, and blocks this year, 19 points a game in Summit League play. He set a Summit League record in a preseason game this year, 8 of 8 at the three-point line against Texas Southern. Emmanuel Nezakwezi, senior from Oral Roberts, 2nd teamer last year, but he was the top offensive rebounder, defensive rebounder, and total rebounder in the Summit League this year. Top 10 in the league in scoring and block shots as well. Vinny Shahid, senior from North Dakota State, newcomer of the year last year in the league, leads the Bison in scoring and assists and steals and threes and free throws. Led the league in free throw shooting this year at 93.6%. And they are joined by Marlon Stewart, senior from North Dakota, led the league overall in scoring and assists this year. And we're told that's the first guy since Nate Walters at South Dakota State to do that in the Summit League. Most free throws made in the league this year for Marlon Stewart. Tyson Ward, senior from NDSU, top 5 in the league in scoring at 19 points a game. 7 league games where he had at least 22 points this year, and led the Bison with 29 in that last regular season game to get a share of first place in the standings. And Douglas Wilson, junior, newcomer from South Dakota State, joined as a junior college transfer this year, led the team in scoring, huge impact on the team that sorely needed some scoring, and led a team that was picked 5th to a share of the Summer League championship. Douglas Wilson rounds out the first team. All right, women's 2nd team. Julia Fleeks, junior from North Dakota, 14 points a game, 5 rebounds a game in league play for the Fighting Hawks. Chloe Lamb is a junior from South Dakota, great shooter, just over 50% overall, 47% at the three-point line, almost 90% at the free throw line, and was clutch in a couple of late season wins for the Coyotes. Tegan Larson, senior from South Dakota State, did everything, 7th in rebounds, 5th in the league in blocks, 5th in assists, and a 3-year starter that has helped the Jacks to a 40-6 Summit League mark in the last 3 years. Also on the 2nd team, Lauren Lovin, a senior from Denver, top 3-point shooter in the league, one of the national leaders, led the Summit League in three-pointers made this year, shot 50.5% at the three-point line in Summit League games. Mariah Murdy, just a sophomore from Omaha, on the all-newcomer team last year, 14 points a game, 6 boards this year, and again, 52% shooter. Also made 52% of her threes, but didn't have enough attempts and makes to qualify. But Mariah Murdy rounds out the 2nd team. Men's 2nd team All-Summit. DeAndre Burns, senior at Oral Roberts. He was a grad transfer this year from Arkansas Little Rock. 17 points a game in league play. He started his Summer League debut with 23 points against South Dakota State. He had 7 20-plus point games in the Summer League this year. The big dent, Matt Dentlinger, sophomore from South Dakota State, went from 3 points a game last year to 12 points a game plus this year for the Jackrabbits. Led the league in shooting at just under 70%, field goals this year in Summer League play. Ade Murkey, senior from Denver, 3-year starters for the Pioneers, leading scorer in league games this year, 22.1 points a game, set a Denver Division I record with 42 points in a game this year against South Dakota State. Stanley Amude is on the second team as well, one of the high flyers, led the Summer League in block shots, top 10 in both scoring and rebounds for the Coyotes at 17 points a game and 6 rebounds. And they are joined by Kobe Webster, junior from Western Illinois, 8th in the league in scoring this year, 6th in assist, and he was top 10 in three-pointers made for the Leathernecks, and that is your men's second team. All right, all newcomer team this year. Started off with Ryan Cobbins, freshman from North Dakota State, started every game for the Bison this year, led them in steals and was second on the team in three-pointers made. North Dakota State's women improved by 3 league wins over last year with Cobbins in the lineup. Gentry Holt, senior from Oral Roberts, was a grad transfer from Oklahoma State, sat out until the first of the season this year, 1st of January this year, but impact in those 17 games, 8 points and 5 rebounds a game for Holt. Tori Nelson, a freshman from South Dakota State, averaged 10 points a game, 4 rebounds a game for the Jackrabbits, 3rd on the Jackrabbits in scoring behind a first-teamer and a second-teamer this year with Peyton Burkhardt and Tegan Larson. Riley Ott is on the all-newcomer team, freshman from Purdue-Fort Wayne. She was top 10 in assists, top 10 in free throws made this year, and 13 points a game as a freshman for Riley Ott. And Evan Zars, sophomore from Western Illinois, joined the Leathernecks this year after 1 year at St. Louis University, and overall was second in the league in total rebounds. Evan Zars rounds out the women's all-newcomer team. All right, for the men, all newcomers this year. Got 3 freshmen on this team. Max Asmus, a freshman from Oral Roberts. The only freshman on the roster this year for ORU, but he was 3rd on the team in scoring. Had a great Summit League debut, 21 points as he came into the league, made 5 threes in his first Summit League game. Deontay Billups, freshman from Purdue-Fort Wayne. Led Purdue-Fort Wayne in rebounding, 3rd on the team in scoring, and one of the top offensive rebounders in the league this year. And they're joined by DeAndre Burns, the senior from ORU. Saw him on the All-Summit League second team, but great at the free throw line, 86% and 17 points a game in league play. All newcomer as well, a couple of the Jackrabbits. Noah Friedel, freshman from South Dakota State, 28 in his Summit League debut down in Omaha. He had 6 games of 20 points or more in Summit League play this year. And Douglas Wilson, saw him on the first team this year, and again, 20.5 points a game in Summit League play for Wilson, who rounds out the all-newcomer team. All right, honorable mention. Got 6 on the first team, 5 on the second team, and then honorable mention. Mo Bertans, a senior from Oral Roberts. Taylor Frederick, senior from the University of South Dakota. Michelle Geislerova, a junior at North Dakota State, was 55 of 56 at the free throw line this year. And they're joined by Maddie McKeever, a senior from South Dakota, and Riley Torrey, a senior from Oral Roberts University. Men's honorable mention, Friedel, the freshman from South Dakota State. Jared Godfrey, a sophomore from Purdue-Fort Wayne. The pile driver, a junior from Omaha, and they are joined on the honorable mention team by Philip Rabracha, a sophomore from the University of North Dakota, and KJ Robinson, a senior from Omaha. All right, to the individual awards now. Freshman of the Year for the women. South Dakota State, Tori Nelson, saw her on the all-newcomer team. Jax had some injuries to overcome this year. Nelson stepped into the starting lineup again, 10 points a game and 4 rebounds a game for the Freshman of the Year, Tori Nelson. And the men's Freshman of the Year, also a Jackrabbit. Friedel made the newcomer team. Carried South Dakota State in some second half in some key wins again this year. He was top 8 in the league in three-pointers made and shot 42% in some of the games at the three-point line. Noah Friedel, the Freshman of the Year. All right, newcomer of the year as well, and these are not freshmen. Evan Zars, sophomore from Western Illinois. Again, was overall 2nd in the league in total rebounds this year. In her first year in the Summit League, top 10 in the Summit in field goal percentage, rebounds, and block shots for Evan Zar, the newcomer of the year. And Douglas Wilson is the men's newcomer of the year, and talked about him a lot already. Again, he had 31 points in a couple of league games this year, 20-plus points in 6 other games for Douglas Wilson in his first year as a Summit League player for the Jackrabbits. All right, sixth woman and senior from the University of South Dakota. Frederick is the fourth straight player from USD to win this. They had Maddie McKeever, Jasmine Trimboli, Hannah Shervin last year, and now Frederick this year to make it 4 in a row. Just over 15 minutes a game, she scored 11 points and almost 5 rebounds a game. The league extrapolates a statistic where it's points for 40 minutes. Taylor Frederick led the league in that category, 28.9 points in 40 minutes on the floor as the sixth woman of the year. Sixth man is the sophomore from Omaha, Marlon Ruffin. 31 games, no starts, played just over 20 minutes a game. True sixth man, but 12.5 points a game. Did put him in the top 25 of all scorers in the league this year, averaging 20 points a game in his last 3. He's one of the hottest players coming in to the Summit League tournament. Marlon Ruffin, the sixth man of the year. All right, defensive player of the year, familiar name, Hannah Shervin. Junior from the University of South Dakota. Again, third in the league in block shots, in total rebounds. She was also sixth in the league in steals. Biggest reason why the Coyotes held their league opponents to just 51 points a game this year. And she is the third straight Coyote to win the Defensive Player of the Year, following Jasmine Trimboli and Allison Arns from last year. And a pain in the paint for the Summit big men. Matt Pyle, junior from Omaha. Third in the league in rebounds. He was second in block shots this year. First teamer in facial hair for the big pile driver, and he is the Defensive Player of the Year, Matt Pyle. All right, finally, the coaches of the year, the players of the year. Don Plitzowite. This is the third year in a row now that Coach Plitz has won this award, 16-0 in league play this year. That's the second unbeaten regular season the last 3 years for the Coyotes. The numbers are amazing. Led the league in almost every defensive category. South Dakota, number 17 in the AP poll, number 12 in the USA Today coaches poll this week, 26-2 record going into the Summit League tournament, and Don Plitzowite, the women's coach of the year. On the men's side, Hendo in his first season as the head coach of the Jackrabbits. Again, the Jacks were the biggest leap in expectation to the end result this year as far as where they were picked to finish and where they did finish as the co-champions. Had that defensive mindset. The Jacks led the league in defensive field goal percentage and rebound margin. Also scored as well. He was a little surprised by that, but second in the league in scoring. Jackrabbits first in field goal percentage and three-point percentage and assists this year under Coach of the Year, Eric Henderson. All right, players of the year, Kira Duffy, her senior year at South Dakota, was the Summit League Freshman of the Year back in 2017. 3 times now that she has been all Summit League first team. Led the league again in assists this year, third in scoring, and 16-0 in the number 1 seed as Kira Duffy, the Player of the Year, leads the Coyotes into the Summit League tournament this weekend. And the Men's Player of the Year was the Newcomer of the Year, Douglas Wilson. Makes it 4 in a row for South Dakota State following 3-time winner Mike Dahm as the Player of the Year. Wilson, 20.5 points a game this year in Summit League play, made the most shots of anybody in the league this year. And again, he was first in that points per 40 minutes category at just over 27 points in 40 minutes for the Jackrabbits. And Douglas Wilson rounds out the individual awards as the Player of the Year. All right, again, thanks for being here. Summit League tournament's going to be fabulous again. We'll get Tom Duple and Thomas Lee up here to answer any questions you may have. And before that, please welcome Ryan Powell, the main man at the Summit League, who has a quick announcement.
Like Tom said, just thank everybody for being here today. We do have Thomas Lee from the Sioux Falls Sports Authority and our commissioner, Tom Duple. Gentlemen, if you will, just both make a quick opening statement about the excitement around Sioux Falls for the tournament, and then we will open it up for a few questions from you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, from our standpoint, the Sports Authority, we're thrilled to have this relationship with the Summit League. We're thrilled that it's back for its 12th year, 6th year, I believe, in this building. The partnership's great. The tournament's going to be great. The tournament always is. So big things for this weekend and hopefully ahead in future years.
Well, I look forward to the tournament this year, being our 12th in Sioux Falls. I do want to say from the get, it's been really great for our staff and for myself. We finally moved into our new office space at the Sanford Horth Sports Complex. It's fantastic. If you haven't had an opportunity to get out there, it is really worth the trip. We think that we have one of the best office situations for any mid-major conference for sure. We partner with Sanford Health in beating and bringing out awareness of type 1 diabetes. It's a horrible disease. We go throughout the year with our men's and women's basketball games that sponsor a diabetes awareness game throughout the season. Here at the Premier Center, we're also going to recognize, and in the programs, our association on trying to beat this bad disease on type 1. It means a lot to our, a lot of folks who've gone through this disease and a lot of families. I know for myself, my youngest daughter has type 1 diabetes, and it's just a game changer for sure. So it's fun to partner with Sanford Health on beating type 1, and all of our teams, and including our office, are involved in this effort throughout the year. Just a quick recap before we get into the tournament, because I want to have a shout out. Our women's soccer team set a new record this year as a non-conference wins. We had 42 wins as a league and did fantastic there. Our women's volleyball had a great year, but held by USD with a record of 31-3, and they got to play 6 home games and got to the finals of the volleyball NIT. Congratulations to them. We have upcoming indoor track at the national meet. We have 9 student athletes from the Summit League that will be competing at the national meet. 7 of those have top 10 qualifications and finishes, but it's being led by Chris Nelson of USD, who set an American and NCAA record earlier this year in the pole vault, so we want to congratulate them. You know, when we turn our attention to the tournament, and I will say from the men's, it probably is as wide open as we've ever had. It's going to be an interesting tournament on the men's side for sure. I mean, you take numbers 3 to 6 and 7, they're going to be tough outs. And so you've got to show up and play your best from the tip to the end in our tournament. On the women's side, SDSU and USD have separated themselves. Congratulations to USD. It's our highest ever men's and women's basketball nationally ranking. And as Tom mentioned, 12th in the nation. It is just something to be very proud of. Followed that up last year with a Sweet 16 run by SDSU, and it's safe to say women's basketball in the Summit League is as good as it gets on the national level. And it also, our attendance this weekend, if it's not first, it'll be second as far as women's basketball attendance for tournaments, especially when you get down into the final games, the semifinals and finals. We've always been in the top 2 in the nation in attendance. This year, we have a new policy for all of our fans, is the clear bag policy. So we're trying to make everyone aware of that. And we're putting out as a Summit League over 2,500 clear bags for those that might have forgot to bring one, that these will be available here for the Premier Center. We also introduced something very new, and hopefully it takes off. If you realize in the Premier Center at the end, at the upper deck, where Midco used to have their broadcast, we never really sold a lot of tickets in that area. And so we're introducing this year what we call a Summit Deck. And you're able to buy a ticket for $20, and with that ticket you get 1 adult-free beverage. So we're wondering, wow, would we even be able to sell any? And we're close to about 500 tickets already sold up in that area. So it should be bringing us some new excitement. We also have a Summit League app, which we encourage all of our fans to download, sponsored by Yellow Jacket Landscaping for the 2nd year in a row. We really think it's a state-of-the-art app. It's got all the information that you can have. We have some prizes lined up with that as well. Also, our commissioner's reception, which had been held in the Summit Lounge in years past, has been moved to the Convention Center, and we're looking forward to that bigger space. We started out you know, 11 years ago with the reception, they had about 50 folks, and now we're close over to 250. So you can see the interest has definitely grown. We want to create with this tournament a win-win situation for the community and for the Summit League, and we think we've done that. We're also creating an opportunity for Feeding South Dakota to collect food for their pantry and to be distributed in the community. We think that creates something that we do throughout the year with our food fight activities at each one of our campuses, and it's been very successful. I believe we've collected over the years over 850,000 pounds of food since we've started the food fight activities. We also enjoy the support of the community. Downtown, you'll see at 8th Street across from the Holiday Inn, we'll have a Welcome to Sioux Falls sign. Also, as you go downtown, you'll see the State Theater lit up with welcome families and, you know, to Sioux Falls and Summit League fans. But this year, the Arc in Sioux Falls going over the river, we connected with them, and they are going to put the colors of each one of our teams up there on a rotating basis. Every minute will be a different color for a Summit League team. And then on Monday night, the arch will be lit up welcoming ESPN red, and that will be really exciting for us to see. So we've got some great collaboration with that. Our ticket sales are way ahead of what we've ever had in the years past. Our lower bowl sold out earlier this year than ever, and we're looking forward to some great attendance with that. We also have the win-win situation that we're trying to create. We had last year Nielsen ratings, and we looked to see how much publicity is Sioux Falls obtaining, and so we went with a national company outside, and they came back with their statistics. If you would have had to purchase this, it was $195,783 in advertising that you would have to purchase that Sioux Falls got free. So I could safely say in TV advertising over the last 5-6 years, we've provided Sioux Falls over $1 million just in TV advertising. Doesn't include anything to do with the Instagram, Twitter, or what you see on NBC Sports where Sioux Falls is listed, and USA Today, etc. So we really think that we're providing some great advertising for the city of Sioux Falls. Over the last 11 years, this tournament has given Sioux Falls sales tax revenue of over $466,000, a facility surcharge of over $387,000. The Sioux Falls Sports Authority has been able to profit $1.5 million from this tournament over the last 11 years. It's a very successful tournament, creating these win-win atmospheres, and this year I believe you've seen the quality of student athletes that we have participating. We are definitely looking forward to this year as well. So at this time, I think we'll take some questions.
If they have any questions, that was quite
I tried
the
to answer as
rundown.
many as
You
I
sure
can.
did. Questions? Anybody?
Hey, Thomas, as far as what your message would be to Sioux Falls fans that haven't been out to the Summit League tournament before, what would that be as far as the next couple of days? If they haven't found themselves attaching to one of the teams yet, but to still come out to the game?
Are there fans that haven't been out? I
Tell me, man, you've had a lot.
I feel like the whole city comes out, and if they haven't, they should. Just check out any of the session, men's, women's. It's going to be rocking. Even a preliminary round. Last year was my first year seeing it, and though I knew the expectations were high, it still blew me out of the water. It's just an impressive scene and something I would imagine most, if not all, mid-majors don't get, and we've got something pretty special here.
There was one area I did forget, and I want to make sure that we covered this because it's a very important issue that just recently came up. The coronavirus, we wanted to take a proactive approach and send out a release, and we sent this to our student athletes, and it was for all of our student athletes and staffs and media, fans, etc. But we're going to take some extra measures this year. We're putting hand sanitizers. They added to the media room, the scores table, the press row, hospitality areas, and also in the locker rooms. We're going to make sure that the locker rooms are getting more sanitized, and after each and every competition, make sure there's one towel, one student athlete, etc. And then we're also bringing awareness in the restrooms with some additional signage that we're going to be placed, stressing the importance of hand washing. The NCAA has come out with some great guidelines provided by the CDC. Basically, the common sense flu: if you're sick, stay home and watch it on Midco. If you're, if you avoid touching your eyes and nose and mouth, if you're sick, clean, disinfect frequently touched objects. So we're working with the NCAA and also with the Premier Center and trying to be a little proactive and just bring awareness that we're trying to take some measures to try to fight the coronavirus that's going to be spreading. So we think with bringing in folks from out of town, as many that will be here, I think being proactive is the way to go. And the Premier Center has done a great job in recognizing this as well. And I know their staff's ready to try to take some extra measures and what we can do, and we're going to be monitoring it as the tournament goes on.
Has there been any concerns expressed from any of the programs or teams about playing in front of a bunch of fans like this?
They haven't been expressed to me, but I mean, if you follow the news, you know, you have Chicago State not playing out in Seattle and UMKC not playing out in Seattle. Obviously, most all conferences have going, you know, the post-game handshake should be a fist bump or a forearm bump. So I think if you follow that, it's been, but, you know, right now, everybody is, you know, cautiously being aware of that, and it's something we are taking seriously and need to take seriously just to monitor it, but we haven't had any concerns or reservations at this time from our teams.